Ambassador Dogra, we saw this. We saw this in 26/11. And you know, the point that we were just raising in the beginning of this broadcast, that all the 10 Pakistani terrorists had a Kalava. All the 10 Pakistani terrorists had Hindu identity cards and Hindu names. That was the time that that bogey of Hindu terror was being spread in our country. Do you see this? Do you see any connection? And will Rana be able to shed light on this tango to spread this bogey of Hindu terror?
Well, I'm glad you brought up this subject and brought in Rana's name also, because there are some people even today who are minimizing the role of Rana, saying that he was not an active conspirator, or his involvement in the attack was not that great as that of Headley. On the contrary, he was an extremely important member of the entire planning process. He was an extremely important member of the entire operational detail. And since you mentioned about Kalava and Hindu names, these could not have happened without the active reconnaissance and thinking process of both Rana and Headley, who came to Mumbai a number of times, who were in constant touch with each other, even when only one of them was traveling to Mumbai or other parts of India. And these people would have fed ISI and their other LET counterparts in Pakistan about how to escape the stigma on Pakistan immediately by giving them Indian identity, by giving them Hindu names, and by giving them Hindu symbols on their wrist. So Rana is one of the most important culprits of 26/11 that has come to our hold, and who may perhaps under investigation, he's a hard nut to crack, but who may under investigation give us the entire process of how he fooled our people in Chicago into giving him the business visa,
Yes.
into giving Headley business visa, into establishing an office, despite the fact that he had a military background. How could he escape all the investigations and searches by our agencies and by our people on such a person? Normally, no Pakistani background person would have had easy access to Indian visa.
Unless there was a facilitator. Unless there was a facilitator that we don't know about. There are so many questions, Dr. Vikram Singh. I've covered 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks on ground. I have spoken to Rakesh Maria and Himanshu Roy and several other Mumbai police officers personally over the years. There are several questions that I still have in my mind. Sadanand Date, currently heading NIA, was that brave police officer who was there at Kama Hospital. You know that better. He was in the line of fire as he rescued patients. Imagine these Pakistani terrorists, heartless beasts. They entered the Kama Hospital and they opened indiscriminate fire inside Kama Hospital. And that is where Sadanand Date and his team were rescuing nurses and patients and kin, taking those hail of bullets. And fortunately, that man today heads the National Investigation Agency, and we'll know so much more about Rana's interrogation. But I want to come to that point about Hindu terror. Floating this bogey of Hindu terror before Mumbai 26/11, during Mumbai 26/11, the Kalava aspect that these 10 Pakistani terrorists had, Hindu identity cards and Hindu names from across the length and breadth. Somebody is from Bangalore, somebody is from Hyderabad. They just tried to show Pakistan ko clean chit, Indians and Hindus are terrorists. किसकी ये कुटिल बुद्धि होगी, डॉक्टर विक्रम सिंह, जिसने ये पूरा प्लॉट रचा था?
Gauravji, you raised a very important point during your introductory remarks, as also I remember as if it was only yesterday that you were braving the gunshots and the hail of fire there in Mumbai. Well, to say it all now, that the cover fire that is being given now to Tahawwur Rana, that there should be a fair trial, and there'll be more people who will do this dishonorable task of standing by the side, seemingly by the side of Tahawwur Rana. Shame on them. Shame on them. Not a word of condolences for 166 of us who gave the supreme sacrifice on that day. Well, now going further, you may recall that it was David Coleman Headley who said that red and yellow wristband purchased from Siddhivinayak temple, an insidious design orchestrated by Pakistan, ISI and the Pakistan army. And it's not only these terrorists who were supporting them. When UP police apprehended one Pakistani, Fahim Ansari, nicknamed in Goregaon, Mumbai, that his name was Sahil Panwaskar. And he also was apprehended with all the sensitive maps and things, and also the red and yellow Kalava. The UP police, the UP STF and the STF also interrogated him thoroughly. And also, it's of course a different story, but they're too closely intertwined because he was privy to the fact that something is likely to happen in Mumbai. And this is after the CRPF attack in Rampur when he was apprehended. Hindu name, a Hindu bona fide, and a Hindu identity papers. Now, the compulsion of creating a Hindu bogey, you can understand very well after that, that they manipulated the commissioning and writing of a book on Hindu terror. And somebody very important in Indian politics was also there for the book release function. What were the compulsions? I asked number one. Then again, what were the compulsions of covering up that vote bank politics and appeasement would go to this absurd limits, so as to that I was given to understand that perhaps we live by the motto, I may win or lose, my country should never lose.
Yes.
But here you are trying to orchestrate and color an attack on the motherland as if it was something that has to do with the majority community. Communities come and go, the motherland has to go on forever. But yes, those who orchestrated the book, writing of the book, those who orchestrated the release of the book, those who said ye aman ke pujari hain, well, they should also be inquired into. Now, through your channel and Gauravji, I feel very strongly about it. All those who did it should be within the purview of investigation. What were their compulsions of doing something as disgraceful and as shameful as this?